Hey everyone, welcome to another YouTube video. This is another Airfix quick build review. The original Airfix model, of course, the Spitfire. Airfix is known for, when you think of Airfix, of course, the Spitfire. This is the quick build model. This costs £13.99. However, you can go on eBay and get it for a good only £8.99. So this is what the box looks like. It's the exact same for all the other boxes, so I'm not really going to bore you with it. And here is the aircraft itself model. It's very, very good in design. This is the updated model. There is an older model they made up until 2018. This is slightly newer. The colours are much more realistic to actually what it was, rather than it was slightly more limey green. This is the proper camo texture that it had during the war of World War II, of course. So that's the aircraft. Very, very good one-to-one replica. I have, well, I say modified slightly, not really. There was a sticker, a yellow marker sticker, which would go on the left wing here. Well, that's the left wing, but from my angle, that's the left wing. That doesn't really matter. But I took it off because I wanted this to look like the planes that flew over Dunkirk between May the 26th and June the 4th, 1940. Yeah, 26th of May to June the 4th, 1940, because that just makes it more realistic. And I've already got my D-Day Spitfire up there, which of course was on June the 6th, 1944. So I wanted a Dunkirk model because you can't get any desert camo. You used to be able to get a desert camo one, but you can no longer get it. This is the blueprints of the plane, and here is the aircraft itself again. I'll just run you through a few statistics of the plane. I've already talked about some. So of course, well, this was a game changer. This is the Supermarine Spitfire Mark II in service between 1937. Unfortunately, the man who made the Spitfire died just 1 month after it launched. He never actually got to see it fly. This was between 1937 and 1953. Surprisingly, quite a short life, and after the Korean War, it was pretty much scrapped, the Spitfire, compared to the 303 rifle, which of course was carried through from 1974. So that was unlike the British to scrap the plane, however, for good reason. The Mark III and the Mark IV Spitfires were used, one with 4 propellers rather than just the 3, because well, that's part of the reason. This plane only, well, it was a very, very agile plane, hence the wings, much more agile than the MkII, which had much more boxier wings, so it could dive in and out much quicker, even quicker than the American P-51D Mustang. But it could fly at 360 miles per hour compared to P-51D Mustang could fly up to 510 miles per hour in a nosedive. So yeah, 360 miles per hour top speed, but that still did beat the MkII counterpart of 345 miles per hour. Yeah, of course, the classic Rolls-Royce Merlin engine V12 up to 1,350 horsepower. Getting off the runway, good 160 knots, no problem. Yeah, used throughout the war. I mean, the plane that needs no introduction is Spitfire, really. Of course, after Dunkirk, it was used throughout the Battle of Britain, won the Battle of Britain. Desert camos were used in the North African campaign by mostly South African and Australian soldiers, as well as in Somaliland and Eritrea. Of course, these used in Eritrea and Somaliland are a bit controversial, really, because the British liberated Eritrea and the town in Somaliland, and they went on to colonise it and occupy it up until 1951 for Eritrea and 1960 for Italian Somaliland. So yeah, that was a Spitfire brief history of the Spitfire. Again, used in the Korean War, but definitely not much really. The Americans did most of the effort for the Korean War, the British, South Africans and other Commonwealth forces little, and by 1953 it was time to scrap the Supermarine Mark II Spitfire. Went completely out of production, but of course, legacy of it is never forgotten. This is, as you can tell, the British model, done by the emblems. Yes, so got that. Here's the Spitfire on the stand. Actually, sorry guys, this is actually like a minute or two after recording. I realised I've forgotten something. The guns of the Spitfire. How could I forget the guns? So yeah, the Spitfire was written down here by 4.303 round machine guns. Originally 8, downgraded it to 4 simply because, well, the British, they never like wasting bullets. And as you can see, this was the only downside to Spitfire. They only had machine gun rounds. The Mark III and Mark IV in 1941 after 1942 after the Battle of Britain did use the MkII style cannon fire turrets, and of course the Americans had their 6 30 caliber machine guns. So the Spitfire, most of the time, it found it hard shooting down planes. It would take a good 12 or 13 rounds to hit down a plane, but luckily the Spitfire's shell was designed that if it got shot, it could keep on flying. But of course, MkII did have their cannon fire rounds, so it would make it a little bit more difficult. But luckily they did invent the cannon fire rounds by 1942, so could take out planes in only 1 or 2 shots. Yeah, so that's the end of the video, guys. Sorry, I should have mentioned that earlier. How could I forget the guns? That's what fighter planes are known for, how good their guns are. So yeah, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.